church on the hill of the castle. The church is dedicated to St. Peter the Apostle. It was built, or at least completed, in 1887. The church is a jewel in its art and structure. It is situated on the highest hill of Castel San Pietro, the view from which encompasses all the lowlands of Vercelli and the hills of Monferrato. At the distance of a rifle shot, the majestic Po sends it a greeting as it passes by, and from the Casale Chivasso steam train it captivates the eyes of the passengers. Such is its beauty, so lofty is the place where it stands. The images you are seeing are the most exclusive and incredible we can offer you. We are in the area known as Monferrato Casalese, in a zone protected by the Galasso law regarding the protection of natural landscapes. The medieval village we are speaking from had been left completely abandoned and had remained unknown until 1979. We ask the man who discovered and purchased the site to tell us how the events unfolded.
I was a guest at the home of a friend situated on a hill in a nearby town. One day I met an old man, a local farmer, and I asked him if it was possible to purchase something similar to the place where I was staying. He said that, based on the memories of his youth, there was a nearby hill that was even more panoramic, but that the potential purchaser would have to have the courage of a lion, because it had been in a state of abandonment for centuries.
What was the first impact when you reached the hill?
Frankly, as I reached the hill, I was quite dismayed. The place was as wild and in ruins as you could imagine. The houses were all burnt out, and a ring of centuries-old impenetrable vegetation surrounded the entire summit of the hill, completely closing off the inside from the outside, and vice versa. In addition, the only possibility for accessing the place was a road that could be travelled almost exclusively on foot, with landslides that happened every time there was a heavy downpour. In any case, something told me to take on the challenge, and before evening of that same day, I'd finalised the purchase of a part of the hill.
But I also see a beautiful little church.
Yes, the church too was in terrible shape and showed the signs of repeated pillaging. It had been stripped of everything, including the windows.
Where did you start with the recovery of this place?
After having completed the purchase of the entire hill, I started with the interior restoration of the house I now live in, followed by an initial urgent intervention of the church, of which I'm the prior and caretaker, and the removal of the ring of vegetation that surrounded the highest part of the hill.
And what was the result?
The result of this work was the discovery of one of the most beautiful and panoramic hills in the world, or certainly in Italy, at an altitude of approximately 400 meters above sea level, and with a sweeping vista of 40,000 square kilometers of indescribable and incomparable beauty. Just imagine that with the naked eye on a very clear day, moving clockwise, you can see the sanctuary of Crea, the town of Cuneo, the Basilica of Superga, the hills of Turin, the Po River from Chivasso to beyond Casale Monferrato, Biella, the sanctuary of Oropa, Vercelli, the Verbano region, Novara, Milan, Pavia, Voghera, Tortona, and the Po plain and the entire chain of the Alps, in addition to the Ligurian Apennines, practically to infinity, 360 degrees.
All this paradise for just 2 people and 5 guard dogs?
This is a question I've asked myself many times, even though it's with a bit of regret. I have to acknowledge that so much beauty for so few people is not fair.
What alternative have you considered?
With targeted advertising in the major Italian and European newspapers, I'm certain that I will attract the attention and interest of the best hospitality groups, with the aim to stipulate an agreement for the restoration of the village to be used for tourist purposes. Before I launch the advertising campaign, though, I intend to present the documentation on the site to the Piemonte region, the province of Alessandria, and banking foundations of the region to describe the purposes and aims of the prestigious project that could be carried out here. In this way, I hope to involve them in creating a place that would be available in the future not just to a privileged few, but to all the people. A project that would contribute to familiarize and highlight the enormous potentials that exist in the territory of the Monferrato Casalese. To achieve this result, I'm willing, in the event of an agreement with the region and the province, to finance the project completely.
Would the project you propose regard the entire hill or just a part of it?
The project would involve not only this hill, but also the 3 adjacent ones, reopening the ancient trails that are still buried under the vegetation. The work would restore the panoramic trail that in the long-ago past